following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Welcome into a hump day edition of Main Street Sports Today. On the program, our weekly visit, talking NASCAR with WCYB TV's Heather Williams. Also, Wes Rucker, fresh off Rockin' Hank. He will be joining us coming up in around 3 o'clock Central later on today. Talk a little college baseball, the Vols in particular, as they get ready for their Super Regional against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Also, our Daily Braves chatter, and it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, so buckle up. Here are your hosts, the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
Welcome into this Wednesday edition. Glad to have you guys with us. It's been a fantastic start to the week, so we're going to keep it rolling here and get you to the backside. We love the backside of the week as we continue to get ready for Super Regionals, which are headed your way starting Friday in Knoxville. I think is there one Thursday? Is there at least a game on Thursday, or they're all on Friday?
They're all either Friday or Saturday starts, I believe. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know of any Thursdays.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Softball can take
center stage.
So. Yeah, so we're going to keep talking about the Super Regionals. Obviously, the Knoxville Regional, Super Regional with Notre Dame coming to town. And Wes Rucker will break that down for us. Man, what a day it was today. Supposed to be scattered thunderstorms, and I guess they scattered everywhere but Columbia, because I've not seen any anywhere.
This guy, Mo.
And here's the thing.
This is the same guy, though. This is the type guy that would say he would sit in a press box at a baseball game.
Man, this thing's going by fast.
Man, this game is rolling right along, or something like that. You know,
He'd actually say it out loud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he would. I mean, clearly.
There's no reason not to. I mean, have you met me? I'm no jinx. I'm not the guy who pulls the 7 3/4 out of the hat instead of have you not seen the Andy Griffith episode where they try to rig up a raffle, and he, instead of pulling the right ticket out, he pulls out the hat size.
Lord, there we go.
That's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh man. You know, when I was getting ready for today's show, I was typing out some of the scores and for the rundown, and I got to looking, and I was like, what happened to the sounds? Well, they got rained out last night, and so they're playing a doubleheader tomorrow, and that means that Ethan Small's start got pushed back yet another day. And I was looking on Twitter. I don't know. Have you seen this guy? Like, there's a picture of Ethan Small. Look, he actually looks like one of those old school pitchers because his jersey, he's so skinny. His jersey just kind of hangs off of him. I did not
realize how skinny he was until we were down there for media day a few weeks ago and got a chance to actually see him up close and in person. I don't know.
He's incredibly small.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Well, that's not ironic at all. But yeah, I was looking through that and I thought, man, this is incredible. But anyway, good. Yeah, I guess that helps with Well,
I mean, it's just kind of incredible that he can generate the type of velocity that he does at his size. Really,
it is.
If you're 6'4", 215 is what he's listed at.
Okay, no,
I don't think he's too anything.
Yeah, it'd be that. I would be surprised.
I mean, I'd give him 195.
Yeah,
but I mean,
if I put him on a scale right now, I'm not betting on over 2.
I'm taking the under on 2. Yeah, and certainly on 215.
If you're headed to First Horizon Park tonight, they're giving away a straw front hat So it's a red hat, and the front looks like woven straw with a logo on the front. Snapback. So
That's interesting.
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
no, it's an okay
It's
hat.
not bad.
Okay.
It doesn't
It looks better than it sounds.
It does. It does.
Um,
Perfect for the start of CMA Fest this week, I guess. So,
I tell you, who was disappointed with the rain out last night was Charles Pulliam, our friend from the Williamson Herald, because he and Carrie were taking one of their dogs because it was Tail Wagging Tuesday. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. And it was supposed to be peanut free night. All the peanut free night people. That's sad. Hopefully they'll redo it. They'll do that again.
I thought of you guys last night when I was at home scrolling through Facebook, because one of my Facebook friends lives down in Memphis, and apparently she and a friend are doing a Taco Tuesday tour.
Ooh.
In Memphis. They're going around to different Memphis restaurants apparently and having tacos on Tuesday.
I'm okay with this, JP. Maybe we should do that here in Columbia.
Sure, as long as they're soft shell, right, Mo?
Hey, y'all can do what you want to, man.
Corn, baby. Got to get the fried corn. It's just not fun otherwise.
I can't find her post now.
Well,
I could do some tacos on a Tuesday. Sure.
I mean, we just go to a different taco joint on a Tuesday and report back on Wednesday
of what you found.
Yeah, this is not a bad idea. This may be a new segment. We'll get Amigos to sponsor or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Amigos would have to be your first stop. I would think, if that's the case.
We do have some sports to talk about today. We'll start opening tip. Mo, I thought this was a little surprising, but not nearly. I guess nowadays it's not as surprising as it would have been, I guess, 2 years ago? 3-star point guard out of East Nashville, Jalen Jones, announced on his Twitter yesterday that he wants to see change and he's willing to be the start of the change as he committed to Tennessee State University. Staying home and, well, I guess technically headed to the other side of town, but 26th and Jefferson, going to sit there and hoop a little bit for the Tigers. It's a pretty big deal.
5'11", 160-pound point guard, like you said, out of East Nashville. The Eagles won the Class 2A state championship.
Sorry, how big did you say he was?
5'11", 160, according to 24/7.
That is not what it says on his Twitter bio. Surprise.
What's his Twitter bio?
6'1". Surprise.
I'm just reading.
Hey man, me too. I'm just saying.
We report, you decide. And I saw him, and I would lean toward the 5'11".
I'm just saying,
but he's very dynamic at any height, and I don't know who else he was considering besides Tennessee State, but I think he was on
the LSU board. Remember, wasn't he? He was either committed to LSU or I know he had an LSU offer, an Ole Miss offer, and a Wake Forest offer. But I thought he was committed to LSU at one point, and then the Will Wade thing happened.
That would explain that. But no, he's very talented. I mean, we got a chance to see him in those state quarterfinals against Summertown, and he's the real deal. And in the Ohio Valley Conference and playing for Penny Collins, he's going to have a chance to really maximize his ability, I think, and he's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. So congratulations to Coach Collins and the Tigers for picking up a massive recruit.
That's a pretty big get.
It is.
And I think anytime TSU in particular can get a kid to stay home, I mean, there's a lot of talent in Nashville, as Penny knows, having played in Nashville himself. So it's a big get.
JP, I'm going to send it to you real quick. We got another short rundown.
Okay.
So I will let you take it over and tell us what happened yesterday and give us tonight's schedule on the rundown.
Is the rundown. All right. On National Best Friends Day and National Name Your Poison Day. I told you I was going to do that. I found it. Also National Oopsie Daisy Day. Or Upsie Daisy.
Oopsie Daisy.
But
They've
it's
got it spelled
UPS.
Upsy.
Yeah.
They've got it spelled Upsy, UPSY.
Yeah.
But I'm
not
pretty
how it
sure
works.
it's Oopsie.
Yeah.
O-O-P.
I've never heard of Upsie Daisy.
No, neither.
Oopsie
what?
Daisy.
Oh, not OPP. OOP.
O-O-P. That's why. Oopsie.
Are you down with OOP?
Yeah, you know me.
You know me, and you know that it's time for the rundown as we got Tuesday results in Major League Baseball. The Reds 14-8 winners over the D-backs last night. Also, we got Orioles 9-3 winners over the Cubs. Rays over the Cardinals. This was in 10 innings, 4-2 your final there. The Braves, what is it, 6 in a row? 6. Oh, we're going to 2 hands with the win streak.
That's 2 win streaks in a row.
That's right. 3-2 winners over the Oakland Athletics, and the Phillies down the Brewers 3-2.
Brewers can't even help us out, man.
Come on, Brew Crew. Game 4 of the Lightning and Rangers Eastern Conference Finals of Stanley Cup, and it was the Lightning 4-1 winners over the Rangers. That series now tied at 2 games apiece, all while the Avs are waiting and resting.
Or rusting.
Or rusting. That's always the question. WNBA last night. New York Liberty over the Lynx of Minnesota, 88-69. Seattle, 72-60 winners over Atlanta. Today's schedule, D-backs are still in Cincinnati, the Queen City, 5:40 first pitch, Central for that. All these times Central, by the way, because that's where we are. Cubs at Orioles, 6:05, unlike our next guest, by the way. Cardinals at Rays, 6:10. A's at the Braves, 6:20. Phillies at Brewers, 7:10. The Sounds back in action after the rain out last night in Norfolk in town, 7:05 first pitch. And as Chris mentioned, doubleheader coming up tomorrow, 5:35, by the way, for that. Women's College World Series, the championship series, Oklahoma versus Texas. Game 1 tonight, 7:30 on the mothership ESPN. And we've got, what is this, TNF? Thursday and Friday.
Track and field.
Track and field. Thank you. National Championships, track and field. As Chip mentioned yesterday, the final, one of the final legs of the athletic season for college athletics, 6:30 tonight on the Deuce out in Eugene, Oregon. NBA Finals, Game 3 tonight in Boston. Warriors and the Celtics, 8 p.m. series tied at 1 game apiece. That game on ABC. And WNBA tonight, Chicago's at Washington, 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. That is your Wednesday rundown. Back to you.
And we'll take a quick break. We will have Heather Williams, WCYB TV, coming at you on the other side of the break, so stick around. NASCAR on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton, JP Plant with you here on this Wednesday. What a day, what a day. A beautiful day it has been. Excited about our next segment as we get a chance to talk to Heather Williams of WCYB TV about a little NASCAR, and we are just a few weeks away now from the Ally 400. So is that a rotary phone ringing in the background, Heather?
I actually think that might be my cell phone.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounded like an old landline. Like I was like, okay, that's interesting enough. But Heather Williams, WCYB TV, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm old school, man. I gotta have the old school ringtone.
Oh, I was talking about that with somebody earlier today about landlines. Like, when's the last time you made a phone call from a landline? Like, I don't remember the last time I made a phone call from a landline.
My mom still has her landline phone.
Oh, there you go.
The last landline call I made would have been sometime in March of 2020.
Yeah.
Before we got sent home and didn't get
to come back ever.
Yeah,
Never got the chance to come back.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I haven't had a landline in my house since 2001. So,
wow.
It took me a little longer to get rid of ours, but then I realized that the only people that were calling me were either solicitors or bill collectors, neither of which I want to talk to anyway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't any big deal getting rid of it.
It's a lot easier to get rid of if nobody knows the phone number except the telemarketers.
I barely remember what it was.
It's funny. Do you remember your childhood phone number? Because I
remember my childhood phone number because my parents still have it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. My mom still has hers, the same one I had as a kid, so I still know it.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Mine was not that. My dad does not have it, but that's interesting. Oh, well, that's definitely not about NASCAR, but
we knew you'd come back at some point. No, it's okay. It's Chris's fault.
I just made a left turn.
Yeah. So
I don't get a ding on that.
Make three more. No, we don't have dings.
That's
remember?
right. We don't have dings anymore. What happened to this? Is no
work
good.
on some new toys. All right.
Anyway,
Ding.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
The Enjoy Illinois 300 presented by Ticket Smarter. This is the worst. This may be the worst NASCAR race name in the history of time, Heather.
Oh, no, you haven't been a fan very long then. There's been some bad ones.
I don't know. I mean, there's been some weird ones.
Wasn't there one in Kansas like last year or the year before that was like the Racy McRace Face 400 or something like that?
Yeah, but that's funny.
No,
this is
not.
just
It's
dumb.
I guess
if you know the backstory behind Racy McRace Face, that makes sense. But it's a meme, right? So
it's goofy.
There was also one called like the Your Name Here 400.
I don't remember that one. Of course,
I think
you also have to remember, I wasn't a NASCAR fan for about 20 years in between the 90s and 2014.
I think it was like a Crown Royal sponsored race, and they let somebody have a contest where they got to put their name on the race.
Oh, okay. Kind of like what was the bowl game? The Jimmy Kimmel Bowl that we had last year.
Yeah.
Well, this is just a dumb name. I enjoy Illinois 300, and we're doing it. Anyway, on top of everything else, it was a fantastic race, one of the best races of the year, and then it's ruined by Joey Logano and Kyle Busch finishing 1-2.
Oh, come on.
It's ruined. They ruined it.
I mean, that's a subjective opinion, but I'll tell you what, Joey Logano is darn good at going to these tracks that NASCAR's never been to before and winning. He won the first dirt race at Bristol. He won the race at the Coliseum. Now he won this race at Gateway, the first Cup Series race at Gateway. So, I mean, whatever it is, he's able to go in where nobody's raced before and come out with a win.
Yeah, and that's, one of the things about Logano is that he's, and we talked about this with, just the fact of being a veteran and understanding how to survive at places that you've not raced at before, because it takes an entire team to be able to make sure your crew is right, your tires are right, your car's set up correctly for a place like that, and this team and Penske does a phenomenal job at this, and they always seem to be at the top of the heap when there are a lot of unknown factors going in. Absolutely.
Well, I was told, and I don't know if it's the case this past weekend at St. Louis, but I was told that he put specific emphasis on winning the dirt race at Bristol and winning the race at the Coliseum. Like, he absolutely wanted to be the guy that said, I won the first one of these. So where I don't know that other people put as much emphasis into those particular races. So, I mean, it's something that's important to him, and it's paid off every time he's tried to do it.
Yeah, no question. Well, I mean, and then you look at, his teammate, Ryan Blaney, you had him pegged in this one and finished fourth, top 5 finish. That's what you expect from this team. And then Austin Cindric at 11. So just missed the top 10. Penske was rolling.
The Fords were really good this weekend.
Yes, they were. All of
them. They were really good. Even Michael McDowell was running well. I mean, they are. It's really funny because you're starting to see which cars are good at which configurations, and the shorter tracks, the Fords are really good.
I was reading through some NASCAR news, and for whatever reason, I just keep coming back to Ross Chastain and Trackhouse, because this team has just been unreal all season long. Nobody expected this team in essentially its first year to be anywhere near where they have found themselves. And, I wanted to ask you, do you think it is because of their pedigree at the top, or is Ross Chastain and, Daniel Suarez, are they the reason that this is happening, or is it just a perfect marriage of crew, ownership, and drivers?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think, for starters, I think that people underestimated what the one team and Ross Chastain were capable of because they were switching organizations. But that is the exact same team, from crew chief to tire changer to engineer to everything, that was running in the car last year at Chip Ganassi Racing. So in the 42. So they've been together now for a season and a half. And, Ross was in the Chip Ganassi organization longer than that. So I think that they're ahead of development of what people thought they were going to be, purely because people didn't take that into consideration. Like, this team's been together for a while now. But I also think it has a lot to do with Justin Marks and Ty Norris and the way that those guys at Trackhouse Racing set up that organization. I think because they've all been a part of organizations that have been great successes, they've also been a part of organizations that have not been great successes. They've taken that experience and set these guys up in the best possible position to win, and it's paid off. I mean, they didn't have to make the mistakes that 23XI is making right now, because they've been there, done that. They've all been a part of other organizations and management and so forth. So they're just ahead of the game as most new teams, because they're new really in name only.
Gotcha. And that makes a lot of sense. I've been impressed with them all year long, and
they're impressive. What they're doing is really impressive. And Daniel Suarez, I think, is going to get a win this year. Like, I think even though that the performance of the 99 team has tailed off a little bit here in the middle part of the season, I think that, the right track and the right situation, they're up front enough that they're going to find a win, or a win's going to find them.
Yeah, I mean, he won a stage at Charlotte. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty darn impressive in and of itself.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this week we have 2 out of the next 3 races will be courses, and this week it's in California. They head to Sonoma, where I guess those of us who were not fans from 1998 to 2018 have not seen this particular setup of Sonoma with the chute, and they are bringing it back, and a lot of folks are happy.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers that haven't driven this. I just got off a call for my race show for next week with Tyler Reddick, and he's never driven it in this configuration. So I think it's going to be a new experience for a lot of drivers to drive it this way. It should be faster. It should make the race a little bit more entertaining. Not that Sonoma needs much more entertaining. I personally like it. It's probably my favorite of the road courses, because it's a little more technical, but it's wide enough for cup cars. Like, I think sometimes some of the road courses aren't really made for cup cars. They're made for, Indy cars or F1 or whatever, rally cars, whatever. And so, but I think this is a really good car for the Cup Series to run. And I really enjoy this race. And it's also a race where you can see a few tempers fly, for sure. And considering how Ross Chastain, speaking of, made so many best friends last week in St. Louis, this is a place where it could come back to him.
Man, things got a little tense. They really did. That was, but that's what makes NASCAR fun.
The funniest thing of the whole thing for me was watching Chase Elliott fans and Denny Hamlin fans unite, because they hate each other.
They do,
But
everyone hates Denny Hamlin. If you're a fan of Denny, you typically don't have a whole lot of friends.
I mean, I like Denny Hamlin.
I like him fine. I just I know that
he employs Bubba Wallace, so Mo should like him.
I don't have a problem with him, but
he's polarizing, though. He's polarizing.
Very polarizing. And so it's interesting to watch anybody kind of side with Denny, but especially Chase fans.
Yeah, especially Chase Elliott fans. They've got a history; they don't like each other. But it was amusing. But I think that the road course this week has the possibility to create more of those kind of rivalries, because it's. I wrote a column a few years ago about short tracks, road courses being the new short tracks, because there seems to be as much bumping and running and as much beating and banging on the road courses as there are at the short tracks these days.
I wonder, there has been a shift in not just the style, but the ability to drive these courses in the last few years. Is it because, these drivers have been running, different types of styles before they get to the Cup, or what's making them, what's making these races so much more entertaining than they were in the late 90s?
Well, for starters, you can't take any races off. I mean, there was a time where guys didn't want to run road courses, so they just go find themselves Boris Said or Scott Pruitt or one of those guys and put them in the car and run, and you get your owner points and move on. But the way the point structure is now, you have to be good at road courses. There's way too many of them, and they're way too important if you're trying to make the playoffs to blow off. So drivers have had to elevate their game in order to be competitive at the road courses, in order to be able to compete for championships. So I think that's a lot of it. And I think too that, I talked years ago to Clint Boyer about this. I think that once they actually applied themselves, they actually found out that it was kind of fun, and they enjoyed it, and they enjoyed running this style of track. And, Clint, for one, actually became a pretty good road course racer, which you never would have expected that from his background. But, it's just every point and every stage point is so important now, the way the playoffs are structured. You cannot be bad at any track. You have to be, and we talked about this before with Bubba Wallace, but there's more drivers, but he's a really good example. You cannot be competitive for a championship if you are not good at every kind of track.
It makes a lot of sense. Kyle Larson, who won the race last year, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
He said that this is a place where you're going to be bouncing over curves and cars will move around and that sort of thing. And the last winner of this particular setup with the chute was Martin Truex Jr. So with that being said, what do we expect this weekend? You think the typical Hendricks cars will be up front?
Well, I think you always have to assume that Hendrick cars are going to be up front because they're just that good and that good of an organization. But I really think that without not seeing them out on the track yet, I think that the Toyotas will probably be pretty good because their drivers are all really good on the road courses. Denny Hamlin, mentioned Truex. Christopher Bell's only wins on the road course. Kyle Busch is very good on the road course. Kurt Busch is very good on the road courses. Bubba, not so much, but the rest of the Toyota drivers are pretty good on the road courses. So I look for Toyota drivers to be up front. And I think that Martin Truex Jr. is very close to getting his first win of the year. And you mentioned he's the last guy that won on this configuration. So I think I would probably go with Truex. But given the fact that this is the next gen car and the new configuration, I mean, it's kind of a wild card. I don't really know what to expect, but I like a guy with experience like Truex for sure.
As long as he doesn't try to get payback to Ross Chastain too quickly.
Well, there's going to be a long line to Ross Chastain, so you may have to wait a few weeks.
That would be just
take a ticket, take a seat. There we go.
Take a number. There's going to be a few.
And that's as long as it's before the playoffs. I'm not sure I care. Oh,
well,
man.
It could be like Kevin Harvick last year trying to get payback on Chase, and then he got so nervous he wrecked himself.
Right? That
So,
was
Yikes.
at Charlotte. That was one of the more amusing things I've seen.
I'll tell you, this year has seen a lot of skirmishes. I mean, more than normal. I don't know if it was because they couldn't talk to each other during COVID, so they just finally got face to face, and they're taking a bunch of
I just think the
frustration
cars
out.
are
I
so
don't know.
equal. The cars are so
Yeah.
equal and so tight that you're having to make evasive moves and moves that you probably wouldn't have made in the old car, and do things, cut people off or cut them close or slide job them, or any of the moves that you have to bump and run that you guys wouldn't have done in the past. And I think, especially when you look at a guy like Ross, who's super aggressive anyway, and people kind of take exception to the way he drives. Guys that aren't that aggressive are even more annoyed the fact that he's amped up his aggressiveness.
Could you imagine the Tim Richmond and Dale Earnhardt Sr. in these cars, always being around everybody?
Yeah.
No.
In such a tight.
Oh, it would be brutal. It would
That'd
be
be great.
Oh, it would be phenomenal racing.
great.
It would just be a lot worse than it even is now. So
and there would be fights
all the fights.
every weekend.
All the fights.
Yeah.
Heather Williams, WCYB TV. As always, we appreciate your time and looking forward to talking to you next week.
Yeah, fun as always, guys.
Oh, that's great.
Actually, you won't be talking to her.
I will
next
not,
week.
but somebody will.
JP, what are we gonna do?
Oh, we can talk little cars.
Better call your redneck friends.
Yeah, I've been to a NASCAR race or two.
Okay, well, good.
And well, it's Nashville week.
That's right.
So
All we'll have to do is wind Heather up and say go, and she'll be just fine.
Point and shoot, huh?
She's nodding. She's still listening. She's ready.
Good. Rest your voice up, Heather.
we'll talk a little high school news when we come back on Main Street Sports, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Y'all stick around after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Just hanging out here on a Wednesday, talking a little sports with my friends JP Plant and Mo Patton. Got a lot of fun stuff to get to, and one of the things that we like to do here at Main Street Sports Today is kind of dive into the Middle Tennessee high school pool. I don't know, high school stories. And one, it's because that's what we do. This one particularly down in the southern Middle Tennessee region, where we are pretty well versed in the high school world. It's a little bit of a groundbreaker, little earth shattering. The Hoth family, not just one, not just two, all three, Jason, Jace, and Nate Hoth, all headed north to Wilco to play for the Class 5A finalist, Charles Rathbone and the Page Patriots, Mo.
Another interesting chapter in what's been an interesting story for close to a year now, I guess. Jason Hoth was the head coach at Columbia Central for 5 years until last July. I think it was specifically July 11th, when one of the first acts of incoming principal Kevin Eady was dismissing Jason Hoth as head football coach. Jason joined the coaching staff at Spring Hill. Jace was a junior at that time, and Nate was an incoming freshman. Both of them stayed at Columbia Central as students. Again, Jason went to Spring Hill both as an assistant football coach and as a teacher. And
His alma mater.
His alma mater, exactly. And following the weekend of the Jamborees, decided that he wanted to be able to see his sons play football. So stepped away from the Spring Hill football coaching staff. Jace went on to become the Region 6-5A co-defensive lineman of the year. Columbia Central advanced to the second round of the playoffs. And Nate showed a lot of promise as a freshman. Both of them were involved in winter sports at Columbia Central. Jace played basketball. Nate wrestled. And once they got done with those seasons, they both transferred to Spring Hill. Neither of them took part in any football activities at Spring Hill. And so now all three, as you said, are headed to Page. Jason will be coaching inside linebackers. And Jace is getting set for hopefully a pretty big senior year, stepping into a team that, like you said, is the defending Region 6-5A champion and coming off of a state championship game appearance. And Nate he's going to make an impact somewhere there. I mean,
You said Region 6-5A. Is there anybody in particular in that region that might warrant some consideration for circling dates on calendars?
well, it depends on who you ask, because if you ask Jason Hoth,
Listen,
they're all circled.
listen. I've been watching
Because I did.
I've been watching House, and there's one thing that House is adamant about in this entire thing is that patients lie, and so do coaches. Bottom line is coaches lie.
All I can tell you is what the man said.
I know that. I'm just saying.
Uh,
I guarantee you, they might all be circled, but one of them's in red while the others are in black.
Well, that one is week 7, September 30th, and it's at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
It is, in fact, because it was at Page last year. So
Yeah.
you will.
But I mean, again,
The return.
of the MAC. They're all circled, I guess. I'm looking forward to the schedule. I know Page is in the same region I'm used to being in. I'm excited to see a lot of familiar faces. Certain games are meaningful, but one of Page's biggest games is a non-region game, the first game of the year against Fairview, the Battle of 840. Get to go against my former team, my alma mater, Franklin. I coached with David Davis. I'll get to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm excited about that. You too can read that in the article that's on our website at mainstreetmurray.com or in our print edition, actually, as well. So
That you can get in racks right now, or wait till tomorrow and get it in your mailbox
mail.
if you are a subscriber.
yeah,
Mo, I assume this conversation was via telephone
It was.
with Coach.
Yeah.
So, to what Chris is talking about, what you didn't see was the facial expression
No.
as he answered that question about all games are circled.
Listen, everybody who's listening to this show or watching this show knows what coach speak is.
well,
That's Coach, and
it's-
that's
it's
fine. I'm
there's
not mad at him.
I'm not mad at him for what he said. I'm not mad at him if he does have it circled, because we're all
Sure.
human as
Sure.
well, and we all got axes to grind with somebody.
It should be circled.
Yeah.
I'd be mad if it wasn't circled.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't circled.
Right. I mean, you're telling me that you don't care. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
so look.
I mean,
I'm not-
it's okay to care.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you should care, and it's perfectly fine. I'm just saying that coach speak is a thing, and coaches lie. Like, certain softball coaches who say they don't have an ace pitcher, but that's neither here nor there. Not to call anybody out or anything.
Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of diamond sports in high school, TSSAA made some changes yesterday at its board of control meeting, and
I don't know if they made that change just yesterday or today.
It may have been today.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless, a change has been made in the baseball, the way that they do baseball now. It's not the way that I proposed, but it's even.
What did you propose?
Well, on the show, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
64 team.
Oh, no, it's not that. It wasn't going to be that. No.
It never was. But they did get some best of threes out of it and an additional double elimination tournament. Because now you've got region winner and runners up going to a single regional site for a 4-team double elimination tournament to determine who goes to the sectionals. That's right. It's a lot of games. You're talking a lot of baseball.
So your region tournament is going to be double elim.
4-team
double elimination.
That's correct.
A la NCAA regionals.
That's correct.
So somebody could wind up playing 7 games.
I don't think you can play 7. You can play 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play 6. The 7th game is the winner's bracket final. So if you're
somebody could play 5 games.
They could play 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
4 teams total double elimination.
You could play 6. You can't play 7. The 7th game you wouldn't be in because it's the winner's bracket final, but you would be in every other game if you lose the first one and play the if necessary. You would play 6 games. So, because the only game that you wouldn't be in again is I guess you're right. It is 5 because you're not playing the game above you. 1, 2.
The tournament will have 7 total games. No one team will play all 7 games.
Right.
You can't play.
It is 5. You're right.
It's a bit confusing because the regionals you hear. The Monday, if necessary, games were all game 7.
Game 7, but nobody played in all 7 of those.
It was
games.
just the 7th game of the whole week.
Right.
But someone could conceivably play 5 games.
Correct.
You lose your first one and go all the way.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, once you get to that 7th game, you're guaranteed a spot in the sectional a la sub-regional. That's now a 3-game set. They've basically set this up as the college playoffs. This is now exactly the way that the College World Series playoffs are constructed.
And what's interesting is you made the comment earlier this week about
arms.
College programs not necessarily having the arms to get through that regional, but you're asking high school teams to do it at the state level. Well, now you're asking them to do it at the regional level.
Well, yes. I mean, the 4-team is it's not completely different. It's a little different, but it's certainly not. I mean,
no, it's a lot different because
you
you
only
had
got
region semifinals, you had region finals, 2 games.
Yeah, but the region final and region winner and loser advance.
Mm-hmm.
So
who advances out of this?
I assume that's the only way to get to a sectional is to have.
Well, so the 2 region finalists will advance to sectionals, you would think. It's just, at a time when you're concerned about arm care and player safety and that kind of thing, adding games, I'll be interested to see what the schedule ramifications are.
Yeah, the only thing it changes is that district tournaments, according to, the district tournaments must be completed by May 9th. But I wonder if you will play fewer games during the regular season to prepare yourself as to not overuse your
I don't think you can play fewer games because while you don't want to overuse pitchers, you've got to develop pitchers. And the only way to develop them is they got to pitch.
Maybe you're going to end up seeing a lot of teams pitching a lot of folks who aren't pitchers during some regular season games that you probably shouldn't.
And that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be real interesting. And what's interesting on top of it is apparently it was baseball only. It wasn't baseball and softball.
Correct. It's just baseball. So, well, I have. There were some other discussions at the Board of Control meeting, and we'll talk to Tyler Palmatier tomorrow about some of those, including classification, the discussion around travel, and that extra fourth classification, and so
I'm interested to know who the new assistant executive director is.
There,
which was item number 36 on the agenda.
Nobody made it that far. Oh, but yeah, tomorrow, Tyler Palmatier will talk a little more about the Board of Control meeting from this week. So come back with us tomorrow. But right now, come back with us and we will talk a little Braves. We'll get to West Rucker and Wild and Wacky Wednesday all in the next set. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joints. Back after this.
The city famous for its music is quiet now, but it's about to be overwhelmed by the symphony of speed. Nashville Superspeedway will be rocking from the pit to the grandstand. June 24th through 26th, the Ally 400 NASCAR Cup Series race weekend brings a mix of incredible racing and live entertainment. Tickets are going fast, so visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com today and join the full throttle fun.
Time of the second half of Main Street Sports today. Coming up, we'll be joined by West Rucker 24/7 Sports, talking a little college baseball and other fun topics from East Tennessee. Also, Wild and Wacky Wednesday still to come. And it is, of course, as always, our Daily Brave segment that's coming up next. Here's the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
Yeah. What's up? It feels like we were just here. No halftime today. My halftime was going to be that Todd and Julie Chrisley are on house arrest.
Yeah.
They're both found guilty, right? And so they're awaiting sentencing? Is that the situation?
Which is set for October. So they'll be on house arrest until October.
Oh, wow.
So much for what? What's the word? Swift and whatever?
Swift justice? I don't know. Is that what you're thinking about?
Swift and speedy or something? Yeah. Trials?
They could face up to 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get that, but
yeah.
I think what I heard this morning, something like at least 5 years, maybe.
Really? I mean, maybe to serve at 20%, which would be one.
Yeah.
And then suspend the rest. But
who knows?
I don't see them in, and it's federal prison too. Most of those places are freaking country clubs. So
it's all relative. Well, I'm not trying to go to any of them myself, but
I'm just saying
you still can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, they can't go anywhere now either. They're just in their house. So
that's better than,
I guess, white jumpsuits.
That's better than the alternative, but yeah, they made their bed, I suppose, right?
I guess.
Time to lie down.
The Atlanta Braves have won 6 games in a row. That's 2 winning streaks put together. Yay! And I find it interesting that throughout this winning streak, the backside of the pitching staff has just been sensational. And last night, Kyle Wright, if you pretend the first 3 batters don't exist, and he was about as good as you can ask for from anybody, much less a guy who who, had he given up 3 singles to start the game and 2 runs, would have just imploded 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This guy, he's a professional. I have been so impressed, and maybe last night was his coming out party, even if it was against the Athletics.
Just like you said, given the way the game started, he's down 2-0 before the Braves even pick up a bat, and he doesn't give up anything else. I don't know if anybody else even reached second base on him.
It was, I mean, truly a masterful performance.
And
anchor down.
No doubt. I was just getting ready to say, I mean, this had to be surely someone in Vanderbilt baseball was kind of videoing this thing and getting ready to show it out on the recruiting trail, because you had 3 ex-Commodores in the starting lineup for those 2 teams with, Tony Kemp, Kyle Wright, and Dansby Swanson. I mean, not that anybody doesn't know, but still, just to see it, that's pretty. It's got to be pretty impactful, I would think.
The impact of Vanderbilt on the professional game over the last decade has been incredible, and a lot of it was on display last night. Now, a couple of times Dansby Swanson hit the ball hard, just right at some folks. Obviously, you saw Ronald Acuna Jr. do Ronald Acuna Jr. things, lead off home run, hits another one in his next at bat, hit
to lead off that inning.
Had hit 3 home runs in 3 at bats at one time. And then, of course, Guillermo Heredia,
of course,
winning the game with a solo shot of his own. I mean, when he hit it,
after he was not in the starting lineup to start, Adam Duvall with some bicep soreness or what it was,
whatever it was, it must be gone because he's back in the lineup today.
Yeah, there you go. But and that ball was crushed as well.
Yeah, I mean, he knew it when he walked to first base with the bat in his hand. I mean, he knew it was gone.
Well, it was just a matter of fair or foul.
Did he keep it fair?
Wow.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
Did he keep it fair? Yes, he did.
He did. Yeah.
So yeah.
So now we're trying to build on 6.
Lucky number 7 tonight. We'll see. Ronald Acuna Jr. in right field, leading off. Dansby hitting second. Shortstop. Riley at third. Olsen, who, against his former team, is probably trying to show out a little bit. Christian Pache probably trying to show out a little bit, and did so in center field. But then he was upstaged by Michael Harris II, who made one of the best plays I've ever seen in an outfield.
Yeah, that was a nice running catch that he made in right center. Yeah. What's the rest of that lineup?
Ozzie Albies will hit 5th. Who, I guess this is Brian Snicker's AAA style, because he's really trying to get Ozzie to just to find his groove in that 5-hole and just let him be there. And that's okay, because Ozzie's going to find it. And when he does, it's going to be scary for a lot of folks. You'll have Contreras again behind the plate. So I don't know what's up, if anything, with Travis d'Arnaud, but I guess it's just the bat of Contreras is, and then Ozuna will hit 7th, Duvall 8th. And
so Duvall is DHing?
No, Ozuna is DHing. Duvall's in left.
Oh, Duvall.
And then Harris will be in center hitting 9th. So,
all right. They've announced the starting rotation for the Pirates series as well. So it'll be Fried. Strider gets another start on Friday. Morton and Wright.
So Fried, Strider. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about this day in Braves history.
June 8th, 1978. Bob Horner, the reigning College Player of the Year out of Arizona State, is the first overall pick in the MLB draft by the Braves. 8 days later, he will make his Major League debut, becoming the first number one pick to go straight to the majors. Worked out pretty well. Horner wound up hitting 266 with 23 homers and 63 RBIs in 89 games, earning NL Rookie of the Year honors. So, panned out quick.
Yeah, Bob was the man, no doubt. Bob was the man. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk to Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports. So stick around. Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton, along with JP Plant on the controls. Glad to have you guys with us here on this Wednesday. Looking forward to this next segment. Before we get into it, since we're talking a little college baseball, Memphis has hired a new baseball coach after the retirement of longtime Tigers head man, and I don't know his first name.
Darren Schoenrock.
That's it. I couldn't remember. I was like, what is his first name? Carrick Jackson, formerly of the MLB Draft League. Great words from Morgan Sword, who was the Major League Baseball Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations. Dana Brown, Braves Vice President of Scouting, had some great things to say. Ben Cherington, Pittsburgh Pirates GM. Harold Reynolds, obviously of MLB All-Star and network analyst fame. And former boss, current Tennessee head coach Tony Vitello, who said, while I realize he is being hired to be the baseball coach, I think it's a safe bet those values he instills and the way he goes about it will affect the entire university and even the community. For someone who has fallen in love with the state of Tennessee, I couldn't be more excited to see the caliber of coach and person that has been added to West Tennessee. So, pretty great stuff there from Tony Valls. Pretty great stuff for Memphis. That's a pretty big hire coming out of Southern. So, looking forward to seeing what he's able to do out in West Tennessee, East Arkansas, North Mississippi.
They went from 9 wins in 2018 to 32 wins in 3 years later with a conference championship and a NCAA tournament berth. So
Southern?
Yeah. So
it's pretty darn good.
Gets it done in a hurry, apparently. So
yes,
and there's a kid. Grace Christian's got a kid, an outfielder who is committed. Jordan Carter is committed to Memphis. So I guess he signed. So should be fun. This area tends to send a few kids that way. I think there might be a kid at Good Pasture as well that's going to Memphis. So looking forward to see how that goes. But also looking forward to this weekend at another Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
Same Lindsey Nelson, different
stadium. Absolutely. Different locale as the national #1 seed Tennessee Volunteers get set to take on Notre Dame in a super regional. And again, we are being joined by Wes Rucker of 24/7 Sports. We had hoped to get Wes on Monday, but I'm just going to read you this text string. Reached out to Wes a little bit before the show and asked him if he was still good for 2:15, and that was a little bit before the show. And so when we didn't hear back from him, we kind of panicked, and we reached out to Chris Lee, who we did have. But Wes came back to us and said, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Was rocking Hank when you texted and called." And I read this, Wes, to my co-host, who, when I said, "Was rocking Hank when you texted and called?"
For the next hour and a half throughout our show, Wes, I thought you just had Hank Jr. cranked to 11 and you were singing Family Tradition before we texted you.
I probably got cousins all over the southeastern United States that might have been doing that at the same time. But for me, no, I was actually rocking the ornery 5-month-old to sleep. And today I had to go get fitted for a suit for my brother's wedding with a angry 5-month-old in tow. So I don't recommend doing that either. That's a disaster.
Well, congratulations to your brother, and
if he needs a DJ, I know a guy.
And I'm glad that you were rocking your son.
I can rock Hank at your brother's wedding as the DJ if you need to.
I'm glad you were rocking your son. Yes, that's.
I swear, Wes, I thought you were, just Hank. Why do you drink? And you just missed.
I'm not going to say I've never done it before in my life.
But you weren't Monday afternoon. Yeah.
Not to the best of my knowledge. No, that would not be a Get Your Child to Sleep song, probably.
No, I don't think so. Wes, the one reason that I wanted to get you on this week to talk about UT baseball was to specifically talk about Tennessee catcher Evan Russell and the irresponsible comments that were made by an ESPN commentator on Friday night regarding his unavailability for the first 2 games.
Yeah, that was Mo. That was quite a day there. It's the best lesson that can be learned through this, of course, is to be responsible. If you're a journalist, that should go without saying. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but it should go without saying. But beyond that, it's just knowing that you never know what someone else is carrying. You never know what's going on in someone's life. Someone like we had talked to Evan Russell on Thursday right after practice. He was peachy. He was fired up talking about the regional and everything. But here's a young man who has some, anxiety, stress issues. And just Friday was just not a good day. And it alarmed a lot of people in the program, obviously. And, I don't think Tennessee handled it the best way. And what I mean by that is when you say before the game, hey, by the way, you've probably seen Evan's not here. Only Tony's going to talk about that, and it's going to be after the game. That gives everybody in the country like 4 hours or 5 hours to start spreading rumors. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And I think when you have a Tennessee baseball team that people just do not like, right? You're either in orange or you hate these guys. That's just how it is. They've built that persona from the top down. That's who they are. They don't apologize for it. But when you do that, and you put up numbers like they have, you're going to have accusations. They've been following this team all year long. Either they're cooking the bats, they're juicing. I mean, we're conditioned to think that anytime a home run record in baseball goes away, that it's probably something wrong that went into that, right? I mean, that's just kind of how we are these days. And people don't like the Tennessee team. They kind of treat them like, UNLV basketball back in the day, or like Miami football in the 80s. They, the Fab Five in some ways. They just don't like these guys. And so that started the whole thing. And, that Troy Eklund had played baseball at Arkansas, and he covers a lot of those Arkansas games at ESPN. So, he's talking to people in a program who absolutely hate Tennessee for different reasons. And, one thing leads to another, and that's what you get. It's unfortunate because I don't think Tennessee handled it great, to be honest with you, but I don't think that excuses what happened, because that should never happen.
I'll agree with that.
I was just amazed at, like I said, the irresponsibility and really the lack of consequence. I tweeted Saturday morning that surely this guy has to be pulled off the broadcast for the rest of the weekend at the least. I mean, he apologized and then life went on. And there just seems to me like there should have been more repercussions for that than that.
Could have been, yeah. I mean, Mo, and the reason why I put out a tweet Friday night, I said, guys, I don't know what to tell you. Tony Vitello's post-game press conference does not match the level of concern and awkwardness people have had all day long. And I stand by that because it's the truth. It was what was happening. But the reason I said that was there were a lot of people, like there were even a couple of people who are Evan Russell's friends who were trying to get a hold of me, asking me if I thought he was okay. So there's some stuff there, right? Like you never know. Someone can be in the public eye, and when you're in the public eye, you lose a tiny bit of your right to privacy, and that's just how it goes. But that does not give people license to say things that are fundamentally not true. And there are people I know who work at ESPN who were furious about this, absolutely furious and embarrassed and angry. And you're right. I mean, legally, I'm sure they handled the thing the way that they have a playbook for these kinds of things. And I'm sure they went down that playbook. But yeah, I mean, the him just apologizing and moving on seems I don't like to turn on fellow media, but I don't think that's right.
Well, here's the thing, though, Wes. I mean, for the rest of us to maintain our credibility, you have to call that type thing out when it's out there.
Absolutely, you do, because there are a lot, and a lot of people think that, that police officer or that media people are in a sense like, police officers who will always defend their own no matter what. And there is a tiny element of truth to that, or else it wouldn't be kind of one of those old wives' tales. It's kind of a cliche for a reason. The media people tend to protect media people. It's just how it is. But I've always been of the belief that if you are going to do something that casts a negative light on what I do, well, then you've lost that privilege for me. I'm not defending you because you're making me look like an a-hole.
Absolutely.
And I don't appreciate that.
There may have been some repercussions that we aren't aware of on the backside.
Did he not work the rest of the weekend?
I'm saying that he may have been scheduled to work a super regional, and now he's not going to be able to, or whatever, that we don't know about. And that's an issue for ESPN. Maybe they didn't have anybody else that could get out there. I don't know. I'm just saying that there may be some long-term repercussions for him on the backside, but we don't know about them, and I'm not sure that really takes care of the issue.
If we don't know about the repercussions, do they exist?
There's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the punishment has to sort of fit the crime, and that doesn't mean that you take someone and you remove their entire career, right? I mean, everything can be a teachable moment, but when you think of what he said and the repercussions of that, and the fact that so many people who wanted to believe things like that will now believe them, even if there's zero concrete evidence for that, these people will still believe that. So, I don't think that, someone reading an apology like a hostage letter off camera and then putting out a tweet saying, I'm really sorry. I just don't know that fully makes up for the harm caused by that. I mean, you're talking about a potential lawsuit down the road. I mean, you're talking about a lot of things at play there. And I just, I hate it because people who know Evan Russell would tell you that he's not a saint. Most of these guys are not saints. I'm not saints.
No.
But that's a good kid. You're talking about a kid who is a first-team academic All-American. He's already got 2 degrees. He's got a 4.0 in grad school. I mean, he's never, so far as I know, had any legal issues whatsoever. This has been, not that anyone would deserve it, but especially someone like that likely doesn't deserve that. So yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. But I'll say this: I do think there's a chance that it takes a Tennessee baseball team that was already pretty angry and angers it even more, and that might make it tough for a lot of other people in the country to beat them.
Poor Notre Dame.
Starting with Notre Dame. Yeah, we are speaking with Wes Rucker of 24/7 Sports here on Main Street Sports today. And the one other thing that I wanted to get out before we actually take a look at Tennessee Notre Dame this weekend is, we've seen a lot of, or we are seeing more mental health issues in collegiate athletics here over the last while with everything else that's going on. And I just think that we as the media probably need to be a little bit more aware of that type thing. And maybe the next time something like this comes up, somebody doesn't speak out of orifices other than their mouths to address it.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. And there are lessons that go back a long time with this. And now, especially with social media, these kids have nowhere to hide. It's not like the old days where they can go home, go to their dorm room, turn off the radio, turn off the TV and get away from it. Like, their phones are buzzing all the time now. And it's impossible to avoid all this stuff nowadays. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't, because if you turned off your phone, not everybody else around you is going to turn off their phone. And this stuff is going to be out there. And I still say to this day, the best decision that I ever made as a sports writer was years ago not writing a story that said Chris Lofton had failed a drug test, because I knew something was weird about that, and I'd heard that he failed a drug test, and I was like, I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. I wouldn't have picked him to do that, and the reason he failed it is because of his cancer. And that whole story came out later, and you know how I would have been persona non grata if I had written a story at the time that says Chris Lofton fails a drug test. And then it comes out that he failed it because it's a trigger because he had cancer. And so you never know exactly what's going on these days, but there's such a pressure to be first. There's such a pressure to be out there. It is infinitely more important. It's not even close. You need to be right before you're first. You need to be right about this. And when you're talking about a player's mental health on top of it, a player's mental health, it is what these kids go through, the pressure on them. Now, they choose to put themselves in this situation, right? They do. They choose to put themselves in this situation. So that is what it is. But these are also, I would argue, kids. The law says they're not. BS. They're kids. And I think that people need to be careful how they talk about some of these guys because, in fact, they are kids.
Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports, with us on Main Street Sports today. Clearly, we are running up against a break, but do want to get your thoughts, Wes, on this 3-game series against Notre Dame, or this best of 3 super regional against Notre Dame, coming out of the Statesboro Regional where they had to go down there and deal with Georgia Tech with Georgia Southern and Texas Tech. Is that right?
Yes.
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 And
that is right. Yeah. And yeah, there might be a small list of teams in the country that have the experience and they can keep their cool and could go to a place like Lindsey Nelson and win a series against this Tennessee team. Notre Dame might be one of those teams. I thought Notre Dame was going to be a regional host. A lot of people thought it was a slam dunk. I didn't think it was a slam dunk, but I thought Notre Dame would host. It did not. This is a team. Remember last year, Mississippi State wins the national championship. Mississippi State survived by the skin of its teeth in a super regional against Notre Dame at home. This Notre Dame team went to Duty Noble last year and almost beat Mississippi State, a really good Mississippi State team, the national champions, and almost prevented them from going to Omaha. This team is good. It has a couple of really good pitchers. It's got some older guys. They can keep their cool, which is really, really hard to do in that hornet's nest that Lindsey Nelson Stadium has become these days against a really intimidating, really physical Tennessee team and a very loud crowd that's going to make things a problem for you from the time you take BP until the final out's recorded. But it should be a pretty good series. It should be. I don't think Notre Dame is just going to walk in there and collapse. I might have to regret that. I think Tennessee wins the series, but it doesn't surprise me if it goes to 3. And I think Notre Dame's not just going to go in there and get its clock cleaned. I think too much of that program. I don't think it's going to happen.
And Tennessee emerged out of their regional, but the Campbell game on Saturday, obviously the Georgia Tech game on Sunday night, they got pushed. I mean, is there any concern about UT right now?
I wouldn't think so, Mo, and I'll tell you the reason why is because, if you look at the offensive numbers, last week had 3 of the top 8 or so offenses in college baseball in Tennessee, Campbell, and Georgia Tech. I mean, those are 3 relentless lineups.
The NCAA did Tennessee 0 favors in this tournament.
Oh, yeah, and why would they? I told you, if you're not in orange, you don't like this team. That's just how it is. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do know this. They put a bunch of home run hitting teams in that Knoxville regional because that was going to be exciting. There were more 2022 first round draft picks in Knoxville than any other regional last weekend, and I think you could have a half dozen or more just from this draft, and then more from future drafts. There's some really, really, really good players in that regional. Notre Dame's a good team. But like Campbell was top 10 nationally in home runs and stolen bases, which you never see. And Georgia Tech had one of the few offenses that was almost as good as Tennessee's. So Notre Dame is not like that, but it is a good veteran baseball team. It plays very good defense. It's got some older guys on that team. It's got a couple good pitchers. There's always pressure. If you play for Notre Dame in any sport, you got a lot of pressure on you. I don't care if you're running cross country for Notre Dame. That is pressure. And so these guys have lived through that. They got close last year. They want to get to Omaha just like Tennessee does. Tennessee doesn't have a predestiny thing. They were not ordained from birth with a birthright to go to Omaha. They got to go beat Notre Dame. And I think it's going to be a fun series. I think Tennessee wins it, but I don't think it's going to be easy at all.
Yeah. Wes Rucker here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Wes, thank you so much. And, hey, go rock some Hank, whether it's junior or
go rock Hank.
I might try to do a tiny bit of yard work here, so I might put them on the old.
There you go.
I go out there, so we'll see.
It'll get you fired up, I tell you.
Wes, thank you, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We appreciate it.
All right. When we come back, it's Wild and Wacky Wednesday, the weirdest and wildest news from across the world coming your way right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Time now for the weirdest and wildest news from across the world, folks. It's Wild and Wacky Wednesday. The two zaniest guys this side of the Duck River, myself and Mo Patton. JP Plant takes his trek to Lawrenceburg, so he's not that zany.
Well, once I cross the county line, things can get a little.
The zany kicks in.
You never know.
You never know. When you hit top of Rockdale Hill and Summertown, you know, it's it can get a little haywire.
Let's talk about Florida Man.
There we go.
All right.
Leading off with Florida Man.
Yeah.
Strong Wild.
Timothy Jones, 59 years old, spent the last 8 years of his life serving time in Orange County for armed bank robbery and carjacking.
Okay.
Now, so what did he do when he got out? He got his, he went and tried to get his life together, right?
Wrong.
Didn't have a ride, so he went and tried to steal another car?
No, he either stole a car or he robbed a bank. What? Which one?
Both. One day later, after being released from jail, he decided, you know what? It worked so well the last time. We'll try it again. Walked into a true.
I know what I did wrong. I can fix this.
I've had 8 years to think about it.
Right.
So therefore, at 9:55 a.m. on June 2nd, he walked into a Truist Bank, demanded $150,000. I want $150,000
All right, Ezel.
in $150 bills. So, count them out. If he did not receive the money, he would shoot the banker in the head. Investigators say he then stole a Toyota Camry, Florida tag DVST26, and got away. They are looking for him. So whatever he figured out in them 8 years, he said, you know what? I got this. I guess he got his $150,000.
Maybe he figured out how to not get caught.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. He might have figured it out because
This was on June 2nd?
this is on June 2nd. And
That was Thursday.
let's see if he has been apprehended to this point. Deputies are still looking for him. Folks, he got away. Well done, Timothy Jones. Hey, look, you got to give the man his props.
Figured it out.
He figured it out. So there you go. But if you do see Timothy, give Orange County Sheriffs a call.
Well, give him a wide berth because he would be considered armed and dangerous, I would think, if he was threatening to shoot folks in the head. So,
well,
don't think he'll still be in the Toyota Camry, by the way.
No. Just don't do what the whites did and buy a bunch of cars and use up all the money you saved up over the time. That's ridiculous. We'll stay in Florida because Timothy got his $150,000 and left. In Polk County, the Polk County Sheriff's Office, which is a story in and of itself.
Is that where they have polk salad?
It's not poke salad, first of all.
I had this conversation on Twitter the other day.
It's not polk.
No, it's poke.
Poke, like
P-O-K-E.
poke.
Yeah.
And it's salad.
Salad.
S-A-L-A-T.
Any.
Yeah.
There's a T. It's not a salad.
Not salad. It's
Anyway.
certainly not poke, but yeah.
Anyway, Polk County sheriffs are looking for two burglary suspects who broke into a Lakeland carpet store and stole a very heavy safe. The According to investigators, just after 3 a.m., one of the suspects smashed the front glass door of Ronnie's Carpets in Lakeland. Ronnie's. Of course, it's just Ronnie's. It's like, Ronnie's Carpet down here in Lakeland. Y'all come get you some, all right? They broke it with a crowbar, entered the store, and went on the went looking for the safe. The suspect can be seen on camera struggling with the beast, but he finally flips it over and is able to push it to the door. A second suspect can be seen trying to push the safe across. This is another Friday reference, right? Wasn't it Friday that the other Friday that there was?
It was an ATM, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were trying to get the ATM.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the same thing, right? Anyway, so they're into the car and they take off. Crime Stoppers in a social media post, quote, "We would have loved to have seen their faces when they opened it and managed to do that and saw there was nothing inside."
They stole a safe.
They stole a safe. That is what they got. Well, here's the thing. If they hook up with Timothy Jones, at least they'll have somewhere to store his $150,000.
While they're all in jail. Yeah. Good Lord.
Oh, man. That is phenomenal. I don't care what you say. Oh, y'all come back with us on Thursday. We have Tyler Palmatier and a guest to be named later.
For Coach's Corner.
For Coach's Corner. So we'll look forward to it. We'll have plenty to talk about. We'll talk a little Women's College World Series after tonight's Game 1. We may talk a little NBA just a tad because we got Landon Seacrest coming on Friday to tell us about all the good stuff. So plenty to get to. The rest of the week, looking forward to it. 2 o'clock here on Main Street Sports Today. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. For JP and Mo, I'm Chris saying have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.